Welcome to Binghamton. Sun shining today, not the case yesterday. The AMA Toyota Motocross Championship presented by FMF visits BroomeTioga Sports Center in Binghamton, New York for the Zions BroomeTioga National. Round 10 of 12 for the motocross class. Hello everyone, I'm Brian Drever along with David Pingree in the booth and Aaron Bates working trackside for us here as we look down over the track. A nice crowd gathered on hand here for this national, and a moment of silence for Jim Pomeroy, who left us early, and a nice tribute to him. First American to win a World Grand Prix level motorcycle race, and died in a car accident in Yakima, Washington, which of course is an unfortunate way to go for anyone, but nevertheless, here's what it looked like this morning here at BroomeTioga. Standing water, big puddles, lots of mud. As we go back to last week, conditions familiar to the riders as Ricky Carmichael took off, lapped the entire field in the muddy moto, and riders had their problems big time.
Well, some people got upset when I was laughing a little bit at this scenario, but I'm sorry, when you see a couple of the best riders in the world stuck in a mud hole, I think you just got to laugh at it at that point.
What could you do but laugh? I mean, it was slapstick comedy of the highest order, and for some, Chad Reed in particular, a painful reminder that anything can and does happen. A shoulder injury has him out for this round.
He dislocated his shoulder in that crash late in the second moto, and is going to be sitting out the rest of the season to get that repaired and be ready for Supercross next year.
Carmichael will wrap up the title. Here's Aaron.
Coming off his best motocross finish of his career, lapping every single rider on the track. It doesn't seem to matter what the conditions are. He's able to excel as he comes into his 7th motocross title here this weekend, closing up. Ricky, a lot of emotional roller coaster weekend for you. Take us through your thoughts and feelings.
You know what, it's a lot happening this week, and as you said, and we got a chance to win a title, and obviously that's what we're here to do. Looking forward to it. The weather's been pretty bad, so it's going to keep us occupied, you know, kind of something different and keep us focused on just basically making it through and doing what we need to do. I think that obviously we would love to win, but the big picture is the important thing this weekend, and that's to win a title.
17th or better in Moto number 1 will do it for Ricky Carmichael, and we welcome back his teammate on the Makita Suzuki team, Ivan Tedesco, back from injury.
Hot Sauce had a pretty scary get off at the final Supercross round in Las Vegas. Did a little damage to his shoulder, and has been sitting out with the surgery, getting that thing healed and back into shape, and I know he's excited to get back to racing.
Some shots from practice here. James Stewart on hand, of course, racing here and dealing with the difficult conditions as they change rapidly from this morning's very, very wet conditions to this afternoon. Ricky Carmichael faster than Bubba by nearly 4 seconds in practice with Millsap's Timmy Ferry. We saw Davey Millsaps there along with David Billiman a few moments ago, and each of these riders with a big job to do. James Stewart, no championship, but of course he can still redeem himself with moto wins, and for Ricky Carmichael, just bring it home. Let's take a look at the track here at BroomeTioga Sports Center.
On this track, a lot of hills, a lot of elevation change here. The ruts get incredibly deep. They've had a bunch of rain, so that's going to be even more significant this weekend. They bring in a lot of wood chips, a lot of topsoil, and you'll see a lot of deep berms and ruts where that builds up. But one thing I always like about this track is the start's very fair. You can be on the far inside, where most of these guys will line up. You see Ricky and James as far over to the right as they can be. But even from the very outside, I've gotten great starts from out there because the first turn is so tight. These guys on the inside have got to let off sooner. People on the outside can sweep around. So there can be some crashes, but it's also a very fair start. You can get a start from anywhere. And Ricky Carmichael, and I think most guys who are leading the points, they always go to that far right gate just as a way to be safe. There's no one inside of you that can sort of push you out or take you down. You're kind of in control of your own destiny.
Quick look at our Honda starting lineup here and where all the riders will begin as we glance across the very wide starting gate and zoom right in on Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart waiting for the gates to drop. And Moto number 1 is underway. Let's see who gets the whole shot into turn number 1. Carmichael with a great run up the inside and not going to be first, but with a nice tight turn there to be able to make it around the inside. He's going to come out in second position. No, Millsaps is going to be our leader. Carmichael 4th on that shot. But Davey Millsaps has been getting great starts, and it didn't end here at BroomeTioga.
Michael Byrne was off the track there. He got pushed completely off to the inside. But this has to be starting of some kind of new nickname or something for Davey Millsaps. He's become the new Doug Dubach or Donnie Holeshot Hansen. This guy's taking more money from Racer X than I have this year.
There you go. Millsaps first, Kevin Windham, K-Dub in second position, Carmichael third. And Millsaps, the youngster who was undecided sort of about even riding in the big bike class, has shown up for motocross races with game every week.
Every week. I mean, his speed is right there with the top guys, with the exception of maybe Carmichael and Stewart, but he's definitely a player. He's been on the podium pretty consistently, and he's shown those guys he was definitely worth the risk they took putting him in the motocross class.
Stewart running in fourth position, one spot behind Carmichael. Kevin Windham running in second, a spot behind Millsap as they negotiate lap number 1 here at Broome-Tioga. Very tight among the top 5, and it looks like Tedesco right up there in 5th position on the other Makita Suzuki. Carmichael third.
That's a great start for Ivan. I know he wanted to be. Oh, and you see a mistake there by Millsaps. That rut gets really deep coming out of that turn. It's off camber and very soft, and you'll see the rut sort of weave to the left and right. It gets so long that it doesn't even stay straight. So a lot of mistakes being made there.
Everybody struggling with control here, but Millsaps not a big enough mistake to lose the lead. He's still out in front. It is still Kevin Windham in second position. Carmichael looking for a way around the 14 Honda. Here in the early going, he's got it. Inside he goes, jets away off the turn, and Ricky Carmichael, just like that, is in second position.
And you think Ricky might ride a little more conservatively here just to get a good finish, wrap up the title, but I don't think so. He pretty much just pins it.
Well, perhaps unknown to us, he is riding conservatively, because even in conservative mode, Ricky Carmichael's faster than anybody else out there, or certainly most of them. Carmichael looking for the lead, though, indeed. And he seems to know one way to go, and that's wide open. Pin it, get to first, pick up the lead, win again.
Well, it's hard for me to believe he's taking it easy when he's hitting these jumps so fast. He's flat landing them all, and I think it just makes him angry to not be in the lead.
Through the whoops behind Millsaps. Millsaps with the inside line. Carmichael takes the second rut and jumps through the air right alongside. He's going to come up. Nope, can't quite make the turn here. And then he does on the exit, pulls up alongside again through some more whoops. But Millsaps still hanging tough. Kevin Windham in third position, and James Stewart fourth.
And that's a big step up there. You see Ricky having to kind of set up for it and hit it straight. The lights bikes aren't able to get over that. These guys, pretty much everything they've got on the 450s to clear it.
Still Davey Millsaps on the factory Honda ahead of Ricky Carmichael, a former factory Honda rider, winning titles for Honda and now for Suzuki.
And Kawasaki before that. He's kind of seen his way around.
Yes, he has. He's proven that he can ride anything and ride it to win. First 4 very close indeed here now, and Stewart trying to find a way up to and alongside Kevin Windham. Windham holding him off for the time being.
It's been interesting to watch practice lap times with these two. You know, it seems like Ricky's always a little faster on Saturday, and then Sunday James will come out and top his time, and still come the first moto, Ricky lays down the faster time normally. So they kind of go back and forth all day like that.
Stewart running in fourth, Kevin Windham looking a little bit vulnerable, although Stewart seems to be having trouble finding his rhythm. He doesn't look smooth and fast. He's still fast, but he gets inside on Windham this time and makes the pass. Windham trying to fight back on the outside, keeping him close for the quick counterattack. And now Stewart gaining rapidly on Millsaps, jumps right by. 2 riders within a couple of turns, and James Stewart is finding his rhythm, even if he hadn't found it yet a few moments ago.
And that's the kind of stuff Ricky and James do that I think makes one of the things they do anyway, that makes the difference on these other guys. They're not even worried about hitting the landing on these jumps. If it's a straightaway afterwards, they just hit it wide open. And where they land, they land. They just land with the throttle on and in a higher gear. So where those other guys might scrub it, try to land on the downside and be smooth, these guys don't even worry about that. They just, as fast as they can go, that's how hard they hit the jumps.
James Stewart doing the best he can to try to close ground. Tedesco hanging on in 5th. Second position, that's not him.
Mike Brown and Tim Ferry. Ferry's been having a great summer. You know, he had struggled a little bit when he signed on with the Moto XXX Honda team in Supercross. Just kind of getting used to the bike. Said he wasn't real comfortable on it yet, but he's definitely found his rhythm outdoors. They've been working on motor improvements and settings, and he's been a solid top 5 guy now.
Ivan Tedesco in 5th position, holding on by the narrowest of margin. Up the hill and over the top as we swing back here to Timmy Ferry on the number 15 Honda, who just made a pass a moment ago on Mike Brown, and then the number 13 is Heath Voss, a name we haven't called a whole lot this season. Tedesco holding on in 5th position on his return to competition.
This is a great ride for Ivan too. To start out in the top 5 would be good for him. This is actually his first motocross class outdoor national that he's ever done. So for him to come out and just run top 5, even off of an injury, that's good for him. I don't see where he would be disappointed with that at all. He's been in Texas. He bought a ranch there just outside of Austin. Been riding and training down there in the humidity, trying to get ready for this. And as you know, anybody that lives in Southern California tries to get out of there in the summer. All the good riding spots are mostly covered up with track homes and strip malls nowadays. So these guys get out to states where there's some more room and they can build big tracks and not be hassled by with sound ordinances and things like that.
Tedesco holding off Travis Preston at the moment and gaining on him ever so slightly. After Preston had gotten pretty close there, this is 5th and 6th positions in the moto. Carmichael's first, James Stewart second. Watching some battles throughout the field here. Tedesco doing a good job. Coming off injury, former 125 champion in Supercross.
Ivan's got to like his position there at Suzuki. He's sort of going to be the guy to step in and fill in when Carmichael does retire, whether it's part-time or completely retired. But with Ricky there to help develop the bike and help Ivan along to succeed, I mean, that's Ricky's next step that he'll move into is helping the young guys that are coming up into championship-winning roles. And boy, if you're Ivan Tedesco, you got to like the sound of that. Mike
Brown and the number 13 Heath Voss through the whoops. Voss takes it inside, makes a quick pass. Boy, that looked awful easy. And Brownie's getting shuffled back another spot. Now Voss, with a little bit of a mistake, allows Brown to get closer to him. Now, Ivan Tedesco, the heir apparent at Makita Suzuki for Ricky Carmichael, whose exact plans are still somewhat unknown. He keeps referring to retirement, or at least partial retirement. And yet he's such a driven athlete, you have to wonder, is he going to be happy with that?
Well, I think he just wants to keep that option open, and if he'll kind of feel it out the first few rounds, and if things are going well, maybe he won't retire. If he has some problems or he's not finishing where he thinks he can, then he'll call it a career. Mike Brown actually has already signed up to race in Europe again next year with one of the top MX1 class teams. So this will be his last year here in the States as well.
Great veteran Mike Brown, Brownie as everybody calls him. Back there with Villeman and Travis Preston. As we look once again at Ivan Tedesco on the number 9 Makita Suzuki, his first outdoor national on the 450 machine in motocross class. Hanging on to a very, very tenuous lead here over Preston. Wow. And Preston slides by.
Preston's a big boy. He reminds me of Mike Bell. Like a modern day Mike Bell when he rides. He's so stinking tall. Looks like a big spider monkey.
Ivan Tedesco's got a good view of him as Preston on his Honda CRF 450R took the position. Now he runs 5th and Tedesco 6th. Up front, things spread out quite a bit more, which is why we're watching battles deeper in the field. Swinging around.
There's Heath Voss.
Yep, to find the number 13 Heath Voss with Mike Brown.
Villeman's getting in that mix as well. Villeman, another guy who may or may not stay here in the States next year. With Stefan Everts leaving the GPs in Europe, retiring himself, it opens that class up to a new winner, new champion. And Villeman has been fielding offers from teams over there, maybe to return to Europe and take a shot at a world championship. he's got some offers here in the States, and he's still been sort of trying to figure out what he's going to do, and I think the next couple of weeks will tell a lot. But Villeman's great to have here on the circuit. He's a character, and he's always on message boards and involved with fans, and I think he's a great addition to the sport over here.
Well, Evert's, of course, the dominant rider in world motocross, much as Carmichael has been here in the United States. So when he moves aside, it will indeed throw that entire series wide open. We'll have to see how it affects the movement of riders that have traditionally been here in America, like Mike Brown and David Villeman. Villeman getting by.
So those two could be racing just like that next year in Europe.
We'll watch them here in Moto 1. Take a look at the leaderboard. Carmichael's out front. Back to third place, Davey Millsaps. Swinging by the lap rider Barry Karsten, number 84. Karsten hanging in there with him, though, for a while, as Millsaps' actual fight is with the man that's 2 spots behind him on the racetrack right now.
Got to give a little shout out to Barry Karsten, who just turned 137 years old, and he's still qualifying for nationals.
Oh! Millsaps on the inside there, gets tangled up a little bit with Karsten. I don't know if there was any actual contact. They certainly affected each other's trajectory. Justin Buckaloo going by on the 44 machine. Millsaps gets it started again.
Looked like the bars just kind of slipped out of his hands. He was laying on the bike when the thing hit the ground. It was kind of strange looking.
There's Kevin Windham. Takes over third position.
He's in a pretty lonely third. There's been talk maybe next year or sometime. Nice retirement package.
Well, the mechanics have an opportunity, certainly many opportunities, to have a little fun with Ricky Carmichael as the white flag is waving on the number 4 Makita Suzuki. He has nothing but lap riders for company right now. He's left even James Stewart far behind. So Carmichael, another moto win here to clinch his 7th motocross championship.
I think after today, this guy can officially wallpaper an entire house with number 1 plates.
He certainly has earned a few of them, going back to his amateur days and all the way through the pro ranks, supercross, motocross, and everything there is to win. Donations, you name it. Lights titles before moving to the big class himself, riding back in the Kawasaki days. Here he is on the Makita Suzuki. Yeah, kind of a tough landing there, just sucked it right up. With all that physical training that he has and the great strength, he just absorbed that big landing. Kept right on going like it never happened.
When you see him winning races this easily and wrapping up the championship with 2 rounds, 2 full rounds, 5 motos actually still left to run, it really makes you wonder if he's going to actually retire next year.
There's an interesting replay of something that happened just a little while ago. Michael Byrne and Ryan Mills colliding the way you don't want to. Spectacular. For the fans, but not a good thing.
Looked like Mills just kind of drifted over, their lines crossed, and well, they both got the short end of that one.
Ricky Carmichael, look at the graphic at the bottom there. Undefeated for 10 consecutive seasons.
And that's a feat we were talking about earlier that I don't think is rivaled in any other sport, motorsport or otherwise. I mean, Michael Jordan wasn't this dominant in basketball when he played. There's just nobody else in any sport that's done what he's done at this level.
So Ricky Carmichael is now celebrating with the fans, not only the win in the moto, but having clinched the title for the 2006 AMA Motocross Championship presented by FMF. And Ricky Carmichael, we have actually officially long ago run out of superlatives for the man riding this number 4 Makita Suzuki. He is the best that ever has been in the sport of motocross. And with that victory and the checkered flag, let's go to Aaron.
Well, as he's given everybody a congratulations, Mike, I think a big congratulations is in order to you as well. You've been with Ricky through thick and thin, through it all, through different teams. What does this mean to you being the retirement year?
Everyone's special. I mean, to be doing this and then retiring and be able to go at this pace and, you know, step it up as much as he has. I mean, what can you say about the guy? It's great.
Now he's stepping out of the game. What are we going to see from you? Where are you headed, and are you going to keep with him through his side by side?
Yeah, I think I'm going to stay here.
We're not getting ready yet, huh?
Not yet.
Congratulations to you guys.
Too much fun right now.
Well, that's Mike Gosler, father of Chris Gosler, who races in the lights class, and he's been with Ricky. Ricky's got a lot of trust in him, and I'm sure he'll stay right with him.
An unbeatable combination for a long, long time. We'll be back. Each other. There's Ricky's mom, who's been, of course, around since the very beginning. And what a great job she's done with her son. Here's the results, our Suzuki Moto results. Carmichael, Stewart, Wyndham, top 3. And Davey Millsap's hanging on in 4th position. Mike Brown slipping back to 13th by the time it was over. Let's hear from our winners, and we'll start with K-Dub.
Now with Chad Reed opting to sit out the rest of the season, how important is it to you to catch up and take home that 2nd place overall?
Oh man, that's huge. You know, obviously it's not in the fashion that I want to do it in, but nevertheless, you know, the books don't lie, and to be up there in my past, you know, I mean, obviously ran with this #1 guy, RC. It's been hard. It's been a tough road to get up there to a championship, but I've always been up there and I've always been in contention, and it feels good just to kind of be on top of the points and have a reasonable finish.
Congratulations, great job at that.
Thanks.
I mean, it's all I can do is come out here and have fun. You know, championship's gone. You know, I knew it was gone after the first race, but it was fun. You know, I'm just out here having a good time and just trying to do it for the fans and my team. You know, I feel like we're getting stronger. It just feels good to be riding again and getting back to pace. But man, he was going for it. You know, this motor, and it was nothing I could do about it. So you know, hats off to him, and all we could do is go back and just get ready.
Racer X Hole Shot Award to a man that we've gotten used to seeing do this. Davey Millsaps leaps out in front of Kevin Wyndham and Ricky Carmichael to earn the bucks.
As he makes his farewell of his full-time career, Ricky, wrapping up your 7th title, and to do the honors, Steve Whitelock from the AMA presenting you with the #1 plate.
Ricky, here we go again, #1. But I sure hope it's not your last year. I hope you come back and play some more next year.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, it's been a great career, and man, what a way to go out on top. Suzuki has provided me with a great team, and just glad that I could do it. You know, win this AMA Outdoor National Championship is amazing. I've never lost one, and got to thank you guys and just all my sponsors. I really appreciate it. The list goes on. I'm not going to bore you guys, but man, what a great way. I can't even believe it.
I couldn't ask for a better champion.
Ricky, with all the championships that you've won in the past, where does this championship rank on your retirement?
Oh, really, really high, because all the competition, and you know, no one can ever say that I did it with no competition, because I had the best guys, and man, it's just hard work, and I'm just super, super pumped. I know I'm not showing it, but I am really, really excited. This is what everybody races for and what everybody trains for so hard.
And with that, we'll head to our riding tip this week with Team Suzuki and David Pingree, showing that there are different ways through a particular corner here, and BroomeTioga is a good example.
Well, this is a particularly technical section of this track. Coming down the big downhill, it's an off-camber right. You can see there's a couple different lines. There's a very tight inside where you've got to go over a big hump that was man-made to get into that inside rut, or you can sweep around the outside like Ricky's doing and just hit the berm and rail up the hill. Two different things that can happen here. The inside will eventually get very, very deep and become slower. Then this outside line that Ricky's taken now, where you can get into the berm and carry momentum around the turn, will be faster. A lot of guys don't want to give up that inside at first so that someone can't get in there and pass them, but a big part of this is being able to look ahead, see the lines, know which one is better, and pick that line.
Ricky Carmichael and Mike Gosler and the boss all celebrating another #1 plate. Moto 2 coming up. Right up, but before we get there, let's go to Aaron Bates for a pre-race report.
Well, if you remembered earlier this afternoon, it was absolutely saturated out here. Well, the sun has come out, things have dried up, there's actually a little bit of dust out here even. Something else you're going to notice, normally Ricky Carmichael is parked himself down on the furthest gate to have the inside line. Well, that's not the case this time. Only 2 gates away from the doghouse. Trying something a little bit different here. He's hoping to grab an awesome hole shot, because all the guys have been making a good start from this center lane. Hoping to have a little better luck on the start than he did the first moto.
Well, it's a strange pick for Ricky, but I'm sure he can make it work. You see a fan back there. Looks like he's dozed off. I
Can't
recall
stand the excitement.
Yeah, I remember seeing a guy here in upstate New York with a shirt that said "Marijuana legal wanna." I always think of that every time I come up here, that's a typical fan move from this part of the country.
Well, fans all over the country have their unique style, and dozing off before the start of the second moto. Well, Ricky's already wrapped up the championship. I mean, what excitement could there possibly be?
Well, it's motocross, man. There's always some excitement.
We're going to find out here in just a few moments. I was certainly had my tongue planted firmly in my cheek, and Ricky Carmichael, whole shot. Well, we'll have to wait and see. The line's just a little bit further down the track. Pops over the top. It is Davey Millsaps again with Carmichael where? And about fourth again. No, third. It's same order. Millsaps, Wyndham, Carmichael. Didn't matter where they started.
We got a little pile up down there.
See a green bike. Couldn't tell who it was just yet. Millsaps, Carmichael quickly into second position. James Stewart is there, so it is almost identically the same order as in Moto number 1. Carmichael quickly into second and to the lead. Wow!
He's running a number 1 jersey. It looks like Millsaps kind of let him go there. I don't know what that was all about.
Man, well, Ricky Carmichael certainly has his way. As Ricky Carmichael running a number 1 on the back of his jersey and still the number 4 on his plate.
We spoke earlier about maybe some of the rules in the AMA book that are a little bit gray. They need to be a little more clear-cut and concise. And here you got Carmichael running 4 on his bike and 1 on his back. I realize he's our champion, but you know they wouldn't let Travis Pastrana run a 199 sideways down the back of his jersey. I think we need to sit down with this rule book and make a couple changes.
Well, there seem to be rules committees and a new paradigm at the AMA here. We have not seen sweeping changes as yet, but all facets of the sport are certain to undergo some changes and some evolution here as the AMA adapts to the sport, which also changes very quickly. James Stewart up into third position now around Kevin Wyndham.
And all the rain has got this track was so soft when the day started out that it is really chewed up. You can see this entire straightaway here is one big rut. You've got to pick one in the air off those tabletops and stick with it all the way down the straightaway. And if you watch these guys, you'll see the bikes just chopping around and bouncing. It is really, really rough right now.
Stewart now third, Millsaps in second position. Ricky Carmichael has already waved his magic wand and almost disappeared in front of them. As Millsaps now coming under attack from Stewart. Kevin Wyndham hanging tough in fourth.
Bubba's doing one-handers. What that's all about.
Jason Millsaps, who's been very impressive in his motocross debut aboard the big bike for the factory Honda team. Jumps over one of the few remaining water puddles on the racetrack. As Aaron said, with the sun out and a nice breeze blowing. The track is dried out. Stewart jumps past Millsaps. Can he hold the advantage? Yes. Gets into the whoops first and now runs in second position.
I think the reason it's such a surprise is that Millsaps is up front is that on a lights bike, he was a terrible starter. It was his biggest downfall, but he's a bigger kid. He weighs quite a bit, and I think the smaller bike just didn't have the torque to pull him off the gate, but he's certainly got that on the Honda 450, and he's showing everybody that he's got some skills off the line.
Ricky Carmichael, then James Stewart. Stewart has closed up a little bit of ground on him once getting back past Millsaps, but we're still looking at probably 5 to 6 seconds difference between Carmichael and Stewart. That's going to take a while to make up.
I like that Stewart is kind of taking it easy. He's not going to just hang it out to try to catch Ricky. I know the fans want to see a battle and things, but when James does that, he lets his emotions get the better of him and he charges up and tries to race up front at a pace that maybe he shouldn't be going. He's had some really big crashes this year. I don't want to see him, hurt his head to where he can't race at that level anymore. So I think it's good that he's being patient, taking his time, and if he can catch Ricky, great. If he can't, ride the best he can and learn from Ricky. Try to find out what he's doing to go faster and apply that next race.
Well, his record here at Binghamton not the best. He's had trouble finishing races at this racetrack. Carmichael's out in front.
He just did that downhill trail. They're both doing it.
Yep.
That's big.
Millsaps with a little bit of a lower trajectory, as does Kevin Wyndham, but Carmichael and Stewart up front showing they are the class of the field, in a class by themselves. As Bum Phillips once said about his running back, may not be in a class by himself, but it doesn't take long to call the roll. Wyndham fourth, Millsap's third, both on Hondas.
I don't think Stewart's finished a race in New York in quite a while, actually. Last year here at Binghamton, he had a big crash while chasing Ricky, coming down that big downhill. Unadilla, obviously, was where he jumped on Ricky's back and had a big crash. This year at Unadilla, he crashed, knocked himself out in practice, got a concussion, and decided to sit the day out. So he's had some tough luck here in the Empire State.
Very entertaining race going on here between Kevin Wyndham and Davey Millsaps, going back and forth. Wyndham making the pass, but the youngster hanging tough. So now K-Dub up into third position, of course a contender for an overall podium. Whit Carmichael just smooth sailing all the way.
Stewart's keeping him honest. I don't think the gap between the two has changed a whole lot, but I don't know that James will be able to make that up.
Matching his speed, but in order to gain those 5 or 6 seconds, he may just have to peek out over the edge a little further than he wants to. Millsaps trying to come back on Kevin Wyndham, who seems to have pretty much stuck a fork in this one. It's going to take a mistake by Wyndham. Millsap seemed to have a little bit of difficulty in the whoop sections, which is not normally the case. Carmichael again. Oh!
That looked like it could have been ugly.
Kept it running, and Stewart goes by. So now the fans are going to get a battle. Let's see if Carmichael can make up ground. They were running about the same lap times for a while, but James Stewart takes over the lead on a mistake by Ricky Carmichael here at BroomeTioga, so the leaderboard looks a little different than it did before. Quickly recovering to get right up to his back wheel, using traffic a little bit to his advantage. And on the inside, had a look over at James and said, yeah, I'm right here. You couldn't catch me, but I have caught you.
Well, that's the kind of patience that you don't see in a lot of riders. Ricky could have ran it in there and made contact with James, but it would have been real questionable. Maybe they both would have went down, or maybe just Ricky. So you can see him look over. He kind of let off, let him squeak by again, and he'll pick and choose a spot somewhere else.
So Stewart now out in front, but by a very tenuous margin. Ricky Carmichael working around the lappers to stay close. And you know, this patient man will wait until just the right opportunity to try to pass that number 7 Kawasaki.
I wonder if he knows his visor's pointing straight up in the air like that.
Well, he's not going to win any fashion awards, but he probably doesn't care one way or the other about his visor, considering that he got himself up off the ground, and only because he's Ricky Carmichael did that crash not turn into something much worse.
Coming down that hill, you couldn't have scrubbed that jump any better than James did. I mean,
he goes.
That's it.
Yep, Ricky Carmichael has retaken the lead. The crowd comes alive here at Binghamton because Stewart is still fighting. And through the whoops, pulls right up to the back wheel of Carmichael again. 2 different ruts around the left-hander, and Ricky Carmichael with an advantage of maybe 2 bike lengths, but James is hanging right there. Now we'll see if the pace by Carmichael wears out James a little bit, and he decides, you know what, I'm going to have to look into the dark side again if I'm going to go fast enough to pass him back.
Well, he had a pretty good little gap on Ricky when Ricky crashed, and Carmichael able to just make it up effortlessly, it looked like, and now already pull a gap back out on James. So it's like Ricky can find that extra speed when he needs to, but when James tries to do it, he's had some crashes.
So James Stewart in second position may have to settle for that. The way Ricky Carmichael has just dominated not only the season, but once again here today. As the track dries out, it doesn't seem to matter. He continues to prevail. Of course, one mistake means, well, he could do it again, could make another. He's still pushing.
There he goes, swatting at that visor.
Well, he had a little visor extension on there. We saw at the beginning, had a little clear visor extension, and that seems to be what's taking a hit. Now he's got it straightened out again. Looks a little better.
Well, Ricky wants to win before he looks good, but still nobody wants to look like a dork. So he got the lead, got a little cushion, and he'd get that thing back down where he's looking like a racer again.
Lap riders having trouble finding a way to get out of the way here as Carmichael and Stewart come by. The track is so rutted up, in order to move over, you're going to have to put yourself in a place you don't want to be. Carmichael just stays on the gas. Picks up that throttle so much earlier, stays on it later. Stewart disappearing again. Back to Kevin Windham running third. And after watching Carmichael and Stewart, everyone else seems just a tad slow by comparison.
It's hard to watch Windham and compare speeds, though. He's so smooth. He's got such a fluid, relaxed style that he never looks that fast. He's still hauling the mail, but yeah, those two up front are, and they're on another level.
So Windham running hard now in third position. Nobody really around to race with him. Davey Millsaps was there for a while. After he passed Millsaps, the youngster fought for a bit and then eventually surrendered the number 3 spot. Here's James Stewart running second, and an ever increasingly distant second at this point here at BroomeTioga. Moto number 2 almost done. Ricky Carmichael is your champion and your leader. Here at Binghamton, New York, is going to see Ricky Carmichael repeat as a winner here apparently. And I say apparently because it's not over yet, but he seems so totally in control. Never mind a crash, fell down, got up, took the lead, picked up right where he left off. White flag is out. Final lap for Ricky Carmichael, perhaps the final lap ever here at BroomeTioga. Only because we don't know if he's going to return to race here or not. And his part-time, semi-retired, comeback yet-to-be situation. The fans are certainly enjoying the performance by the man wearing the number 1 on his back and the 4 on his bike. Ricky Carmichael, the best ever.
There's not much else to say about this guy at this point. Really, you just sit back and watch. He scares me. Every time he comes over that thing, it seems like he's sideways.
Well, he just lays it flat, scrubs it, gets the tires back on the ground, and the lap rider there had a pretty good look at the man who has set the standard in this sport for a long time.
This national here is brought to you by Zions, which I had to kind of look into that to find out what it was all about. They make exercise and recovery drinks, energy drinks, supplements, weight gaining products, weight loss products, a pretty broad spectrum of things that those guys are involved in. It's great to have them here involved with AMA Motocross.
There's the hill that we used for an example in our Suzuki riding tip. His slowest lap was the one on which he crashed. Well, now that may not be surprising, which is faster than almost everyone else's lap on the track. Carmichael has shown that you can provide him with all sorts of deterrents and handicaps, and he still comes out on top. Nice shot there.
Still doing that triple. I mean, you can see him. He's getting into that thing, seat bouncing it. He's either in second or third gear, and he is just flat out. That's a big jump. When you got to hit a jump on a factory race bike wide open and seat bounce it, which is just pushing that suspension in to get more lift, you know, it's a pretty big leap.
Carmichael starting to celebrate, doing one-handers and passing through the mechanics area to the universal applause of all the wrenches. And there's the checkered flag as Ricky Carmichael takes moto number 2, and even though he could have finished 17th in the first moto to take the championship, he won them both to take it in style. James Stewart finishing in second position and Kevin Windham third. So Stewart and Carmichael with a hearty hand clasp there and a quick word. Take a look at our Honda highlight for the race. Carmichael with a different starting position. Didn't matter, he still popped out of there third behind Davey Millsaps and Kevin Windham on the whole shot. And here was this little get-off.
You see him, he comes out of that rut, it swaps to the left, bounces off that track, goes back to the right, and just spins him out. I think he got real lucky that he didn't swap off the top of that hill, because he would have flown all the way to the bottom.
Managed to keep the bike running, didn't pick it up till he could squeeze the clutch. Then he went in pursuit of James Stewart, who passed him while he was on the ground. Made short work of it, once again, taking the lead and going on to take the win here in Moto number 2.
A more vain rider would have fixed his visor before he made that charge. Ricky, more worried about getting to the lead. Once he gets a nice little gap, and he knocks her back down.
That was his rally cap. He had the visor sticking up. As we look at our Suzuki Moto results, Carmichael, Stewart, Wyndham the order, with Millsaps and Tim Ferry rounding out the top 5. Mike Brown the top 10. As we look at the remaining results, we'll get ready to hear from our winners, and we'll start with Kevin Wyndham once again.
Kevin, at the beginning of the season, it looks like you were struggling with starts. You definitely perfected them. What have you done differently to this point?
You know what, the biggest change I made for my starts is gearing, and ever since we made that, I haven't got the whole shot. Been behind Davey like almost every time. That guy starts so incredibly well, but anyway, I'm up there, and I'm putting myself in a position where it's a lot easier, and I haven't eaten so much dirt for so long. Basically boiled down to gearing.
Oh, looks like either the gearing or maybe the new beard. I'm not sure, but getting better starts.
Our overall results here have Carmichael with a 1-1, taking the victory, of course, and here's James.
James, it seems like a bit of a learning curve here this weekend, especially because Ricky was hounding you out there and you showed patience.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't crack. You know, it's been like that all year. We've been racing each other all year, so it's no different. You know, I know he's going to ride clean and stuff, and you know, he just made a veteran move around me on the outside, and you know, I didn't want to get too close to him and hit him and stuff. But I tried. You know, it's fun out here, and just got to keep plugging away.
You guys definitely gave the crowd a show today.
That's right.
And once again, our Racer X hole shot, same result, same order. Millsaps, Wyndham, and Carmichael, 1, 2, 3, as they came across the stripe there. And as we look at our point standings, Ricky Carmichael has long ago clinched, well, earlier today, clinched the title by a huge margin. He can ride out the rest of the season with no worries about anything.
That's right.
Now, most people would be back in the pits, probably drinking a beer even, so you don't know what they're going to be doing, but you're out there giving it everything you got. You didn't give them an inch out there. How do you stay so motivated, even though you just won the championship?
Man, we just work hard, myself, and Eldon Baker, and the whole team, the whole crew, everyone behind me, you know, everyone knows, and it takes a whole team effort. And we work hard to try to prepare ourselves for the worst, and you have to be, with the way the competition is now, you have to be strong. And luckily I held on. I got a flat tire with about 4 laps to go, 3 or 4 laps to go, and James was starting to catch me, so I was like trying to do the best I could with what I had, but definitely glad to get a win.
Well, I don't think anybody had any idea he had a flat tire. Maybe it was just going low, but he sure didn't show it, the pace he was riding.
Well, Ricky Carmichael has once again come out on top. Yeah, nice retirement package. Not sure what all that meant there, Goose, but in any case, checkered flags were waving for the man on the number 4 machine here, and we should see a little bit more of the same here on his retirement year. For Aaron Bates and especially David Pingree, I'm Brian Drever. We look forward to the next one, don't you?